Now, Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi has taken over as SADC chair. The regional bloc summit is being held virtually. It comes as Africa is battling to deal with COVID-19, and there is also ill treatment of journalists and human rights activists in Zimbabwe that has been widely documented. Reporter Khayelihle Khumalo is monitoring that for us. You see him in our newsroom. An extraordinary summit, Khayelihle. Good afternoon to you. One assumes that Zimbabwe would have been top of mind.
Well, certainly, Jeremy, especially because when you look at the theme of the summit, it's about peace and security. And we know that SADC relatively is a very stable region. But when you look at the issue of Zimbabwe, it's been a very pressing issue facing the regional bloc, but also Mozambique itself facing insurgency in Cabo Delgado, and coincidentally, it's the province where President Nyusi is from. So those are some of the issues that were expected really to top the agenda. But during the very first part of the session, the leaders only spoke about some of the very challenges they've encountered when it comes to COVID-19, in terms of how the economies have been decimated, and also just to look at how they can resuscitate all the economies. But also the issue of Zimbabwe, mainly what I did is I spoke to some activists who were expecting the leaders to really thresh out a way forward, especially because when you look at the context here, Zimbabwean president is a former chair of the organ for Defense and Security, President Mnangagwa. But I spoke to Dr. Sibanda, Jeremy. Perhaps if we can just take a listen to him.
What we're expecting from the African heads of states and government, on their 40th ordinary summit is basically that the heads of states and government should begin to work for the people of Africa. We are inviting them, as the people, to look at the plight of the people, to listen to the voices of the people, because at the moment what we are seeing happening is that, the heads of states go and sit down and they are not considering, what is bothering the people. What is actually obtaining now in Zimbabwe is very worrisome, because we've got a lot of parties and a lot of people, that are complaining about that situation. But we see that in today's agenda, of the African states, heads of state and governments, their agenda is very brief. It does not in any way, discuss the issue of Zimbabwe. And we also know that it is by default or by insistence that President Mnangagwa is the chairperson of the Troika and is particularly in charge of, security and defense. And that is very, very, incoherent with what's happening in Zimbabwe. And, everybody would have said to sit down and say, but what is going on there? Because the rights of the people are being alleged to be violated. So we are looking at a situation where at the end of today, when they elect a new chairperson, they can set up, a commission that involves, the heads of states to go into Zimbabwe and find out exactly what is happening. Why is there so much an outcry, from the people of Zimbabwe? Why are there allegations of human rights violations? Rather than to just sit down and say, SADC, looks at the economic, emancipation or growth, of SADC countries without looking at the welfare of the people.
A view from the Africa Diaspora Forum, ending that report from Khayelihle Khumalo.